Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you all how to generate your team lines and match control form for an upcoming fixture via the Scottish Women's Football admin site. So first of all, you would need to log in to the admin site. The address should now be appearing on screen. So at this stage, please check with your club secretary if you do have access to the team lines section of the admin site. They can check this via their system users section of their site. And if you need a password change, again, contact your club secretary and they can reset your password via their system users page. So once you log in, that should take you to your club landing page. So note that the next few steps only need to be completed as and when required, really, usually at the start of each season. And if your list of players in your team or list of officials in your team changes, so you only need to complete these steps as and when required. If you do want to skip to the team line generation part of the video, then you can skip to the time listed on screen. So you should go to the Teams tab first and select the team you'd like to allocate players and officials to. You then go to the Players tab within the team. You would then scroll to the bottom and add players. This will then bring up a list of all players within your club. So at this stage, you should tick the boxes of the players you'd like to allocate to that team before clicking on Update Players. You can also remove players from the list by clicking on the button at the far right. Once you've added players to your specific team, you'd go to the Officials tab. And likewise, you would add new officials to that team by selecting the officials from the drop-down and selecting their appropriate team position. Again, you can remove officials from specific teams via the button at the far right. Now, to generate team lines and your match control form, once you've allocated players and officials to your team, you should click on the Teams tab. You should view the team you'd like to generate the team line and match control form for. At this stage, you would click on Matches, and then you would amend the date ranges to capture the matches you'd like to generate team lines for. Then you click on Filter. So as we can see, it's pulled up 4 matches here. Status of my next match is to be played. So I would view that match. You'll then see a summary of the match details at the top of the page. At this stage, you should insert your players using the drop-down menu. So you would select your players. You can then allocate a team captain. You can add a trialist or an unregistered player. You'll be asked to enter their player ID, name, and date of birth. And then it's also important to list the shirt numbers of each players. You would also do this with the substitutes as well. And finally, at the bottom of the page, you would add in the team staff who are going to be there on the day. So please note that only compliant officials will appear in this dropdown. So please don't handwrite any officials onto the team line. If you're happy that you've populated all the players onto the team line, along with the team staff, you would update team line. Once you've updated the team line, you would scroll back to the top of the page, and you'll see here it gives you two options. So you can generate a team line and match control form. So this would be for a senior team, and you can generate a team line and match control form for a youth team. So they're both very similar, but in my example, I'll show you how to generate a team line match control form for a youth team. This should then pull up a PDF version of your team line with your list of players and officials and a match control form. So I'll come on to the match control form shortly. So at this stage, you should print 2 copies of your team line and 1 copy of your match control form. At this stage, you should then check the relevant box alongside each row for each player. So for example, P stands for player is playing, S stands for a sub, T stands for trialist, and N means that are not playing. So with a pen on your hard copy form, you would mark an X in the relevant boxes here. You would also need a club official to sign the bottom of the team line. So the other team line that you printed should be the exact same. So both team lines should be mirrored. At this stage, you should hand the team lines to the referee within the time frames within the competition rules. So now that the referee has your team lines, you would play the match, and immediately after the match, a member of your team should complete the match control form on your printed form. So this is essentially an opportunity for your team to feedback to SWF. It essentially asks you a number of basic questions on the match, such as standard of the playing area and conduct of your opposing team, essentially just for monitoring purposes for SWF. It also gives you an option down the bottom to provide a comment. So it shouldn't take you too long to complete, but it is part of the matchday paperwork that you should complete. So you would complete this form and also hand this form to the referee after the match. And finally, also immediately after the match, the home team should then advise the league administrator of the match result so that the website is all up to date. So in this final example, I'm going to be showing you how to generate a senior team line. So once you've populated all the players from the dropdown, you would click on team line and match control form. This will then generate a copy of your senior team line with your players on it and a match control form. So we'll come on to the match control form shortly. So first things first, you should print 3 copies of your team line and 1 copy of your match control form. As you can see, your substitutes and your captain has been pre-populated onto the form. The only thing you would need to do is check the relevant trialist box if anyone is a trialist and insert their date of birth in the relevant row. Finally, you would enter the club official signature and just make sure that those 3 copies of the team lines are all the same. You would then hand 2 copies to the referee, who would pass over 1 copy to your opponents. The referee would retain their copy and you would retain your own copy. Finally, let's have a look at the match control form you printed along with the team lines. This is essentially your opportunity to feed back to SWF, mainly for monitoring purposes, but it's your chance to feedback on, for example, facilities, equipment, conduct during the match. So immediately after the match, one member of your team, a club official, should complete this form, add in any comments they wish to add, and submit this to the referee immediately after the match. Also, immediately after the match, you should advise your league administrator of the result of the match.